Good morning. On a little morning walk, thought I would answer this question that come in about whether to eat essentially before or after exercise, because if you eat after exercise, the question was, does it stop that kind of fat burning effect, if you like? So let's get into what fat burning effect means. So when I believe Michael Mosley said it, which is quite disappointing because a fat burning mode seems like you're going to lose body fat, but in the research, what they actually mean by fat burning mode is that you're actually using fat as fuel, okay? So you're using fat as a fuel source at that time. So that's essentially what it means. See, throughout the day, morning Sue, you're in storage mode, you're in burning mode, regardless of whether you're in a calorie deficit and you're going to lose body fat. So for example, when I eat, because we're lucky if you haven't got type 1 diabetes, your pancreas will secrete insulin, and insulin helps us store energy. It's a great thing. It means that we don't have to graze all day like certain animals do, like a cow would just graze all day, because they don't have insulin to store energy or fat or whatever. So we're able to store the energy away. So even if I'm in a calorie deficit, and I'm on course to lose a pound a week or whatever, just get this right, I'm still having modes that during the day where I'm storing fat. However, when I'm in a calorie deficit, those times of the day where I'm in storage mode will be less frequent, essentially, than the fat burning modes, where maybe my body's using more fat or carbs or just energy than coming in. So fat burning mode and storing mode is kind of irrelevant, okay? It's the overall balance across the day that counts most. Now, going back to this question of should I essentially eat before or after exercise? Number one, it's a personal preference. If you eat before, does it just mean that it gives you more time to talk yourself out of doing it? So for example, sometimes when I eat before, I actually feel quite sluggish, and I'm almost a bit like, oh, you know what? Whereas if I just get up, have a coffee, and get out there and do it, there's less decisions or time for me to talk myself out of it. I might check an email and go, oh, bloody, I better sort this out. I might see a text and go, oh yeah, I better do that before I go. Then before you know it, you've gone, well, that was my time gone. And now you're starting to blame other things and go, oh, I haven't got time for me. Whereas actually getting out there and just doing it is going to be 100% better than eating before. Now, if that stops you doing it, of course. Morning, Diane. On to the next part of this is you need to just ask yourself whether eating before, so does eating before mean that you eat, or after, mean that you eat more or less throughout the day? So for example, a good thing about eating after is that exercise can sometimes actually lower your hunger a bit, okay? So let's say you've lowered your hunger and then you come into having your breakfast when you're back, you might want to eat a bit less, and two, it's actually delayed the time. So for example, let's say you get up at 7 o'clock, you exercised for however long, and then half an hour, whatever, you come back, and then by the time you've made breakfast, it's now 8 o'clock. Compare that to you have to get up and you have to have breakfast before. That means you have to get up at 6 or whatever to make it digest in time. All of a sudden you're like, wow, I've literally I've lost an hour's sleep, I've eaten at 6:30, and by the time you get back from the exercise, then you're hungry again. You've almost offset the food, the calories burnt a bit. Not that it's all about calories, it's way more than that. But if people are talking about fat loss here and that fat burning effect, then you're going to have to consider that you've actually just potentially eaten another meal, because then you're going to want more. So, there's two variables there. Then, so in a nutshell, does it actually stop the fat burning effect? No, it doesn't. You could argue that there's other benefits to being in a fasted state, because essentially after exercise your body's in closer to a fasted state. So if you got up, didn't eat, exercised, your body's in a fasted state, So maybe you could get some benefits from going for a walk after, say you do an exercise session, and you go for a walk after, maybe there'll be some benefits to that. Whether that's like health benefits in terms of insulin resistance, whether that means it's just because it delays the time again, or the calories burnt, or whatever, delays the time before you eat again. There's lots of variables in here, and I'd love to say it was fat burning mode doing all that, but really it's because it adds that time restriction to it. And you have to do what fits you, because I know for me, for example, if I have breakfast before I exercise, it almost just makes me a bit like sluggish. Whereas if I can just get up and have a coffee and just go, then I'm all good to go. But however, you've got to know what works for you. If you need to take some medication and you need to eat before with that, maybe have something really light with it. So it could be a piece of fruit, could be, I don't know, like one egg, something that's quite easy to digest, like even like a few tablespoons of yogurt, like something that's really quick, easy, that isn't going to be an obstacle to you actually just getting it done. Because remember, done is always going to be the key thing. Hope that helps. Any questions on that, let me know, and let me know kind of what you made of that, and if that made sense. Speak soon, and any questions as always, do let me know.